You're in the meeting room. The fluorescent light hums above you. You've just finished saying your idea, the one you turned over in your mind for 3 nights, the one you almost didn't bring because you knew how it would land in a room like this. And there it is, the smirk, the colleague across the table, the one who always speaks the loudest and listens the least, leans back in his chair and says, "That's cute, but let's hear from someone who actually understands the numbers." A small laugh from the corner. Your manager doesn't look up from her laptop. The room keeps moving. The meeting keeps going. And you stay completely still. You don't blink. You don't argue. You don't defend yourself. You sit there, hands folded in your lap, face composed, and you say absolutely nothing. From the outside, it looks like he won, but something happened in that silence that no one in that room will ever understand. Because in the half second between his words and your stillness, you saw him completely. You saw the insecurity underneath the smirk. You saw the pattern, the way he always punches down right after he's been overlooked by someone above him. You saw that he wasn't attacking your idea. He was managing his own fear. You could have said 3 sentences that would have undone him in front of everyone. You felt them form, fully shaped, behind your teeth, and you chose not to speak them. This is the moment we need to talk about, because if you are an INFJ who has ever been belittled at work and stayed silent, I need you to know that what happened inside you in that moment was not nothing. It was not weakness. It was not fear. It was something far more complicated and far more costly than anyone around you will ever see. Let's look at what each person in that room is actually seeing. The bully sees a target. He sees someone who didn't fight back, which to him means someone who can't. He files you away as safe to push. Next week, he'll do it again, a little harder. And the week after that. Because in his world, silence equals submission. He has no other category for it. The observers see something more ambiguous. They see an uncomfortable pause. They see you not defending yourself. And they don't quite know what to do with it. Some of them feel embarrassed for you. Some of them feel uneasy and look away. A few of them, the perceptive ones, sense that something else is happening, but they can't name it. By the end of the day, most of them will have decided you were just crushed, that you had nothing to say, that you're not as sharp as they thought. And then there is what is actually happening inside you, a storm. There's the lightning fast read of the entire situation, the bully's motive, the room's discomfort, the political cost of escalating, the long-term damage of becoming that person in the office. There is the grief of being misread in real time. There is a strange, lonely awareness that you are the only one in this room who actually understands what just happened. And there is the restraint, the deliberate, exhausting restraint of holding back words that are fully formed and fully true because you have decided in that half second that speaking them is not worth what it would cost. That is not weakness. That is a kind of mastery almost no one around you possesses. But here's where we have to be honest, because mastery has a price, and INFJs pay it in a currency no one else can see. There is a physical weight to swallowed words. You feel it in your jaw, in your shoulders, in the tightness behind your sternum that doesn't release until hours later, sometimes days later, sometimes never. Words that are not spoken do not disappear. They settle into the body. There is the loneliness of being misread, of being seen as passive when you are, in fact, the most aware person in the room, of being treated as small by someone you understood completely. There is a specific kind of grief in watching someone reveal exactly who they are and knowing with full clarity that they will never, ever see you back. And this is not one meeting. This is one meeting on top of another meeting on top of 100 meetings. The silence accumulates. The misreadings accumulate. The exhaustion of being wiser than the room and not being able to show it, that accumulates too, until one day you realize you have spent years being underestimated by people you read in 3 seconds, and something in you grows very, very tired. So why do you do it? Why does the INFJ, of all types, choose silence when they have every tool to speak? The psychologist Carl Jung, who first mapped the introverted intuitive mind, described a kind of perception that operates beneath language, a pattern recognition that sees the whole shape of a person before words can catch up. For the INFJ, this is constant. You don't experience the bully as a single moment. You experience him as a trajectory. You already know how this ends. You already know that engaging him will not change him, because the part of him that is attacking you is not the part that listens. And then there is your fe, your extroverted feeling, which is constantly scanning the emotional climate of the room. Faye doesn't want to win. Fee wants the system to hold. It calculates that humiliating him publicly, even truthfully, even justifiably, will fracture something in the group that you, the INFJ, will then feel responsible for repairing. So you choose the long game. You choose your peace over his exposure. You choose to remain someone you can live with, rather than someone who won that particular minute. This is not weakness. This is a form of restraint that the world does not have language for, and so the world mistakes it for absence. But the cost is real, and I will not minimize it for you. The cost is that you go home that night, and the meeting plays in your head on a loop. The cost is that you wonder, quietly, if choosing peace again and again is slowly erasing you. The cost is that the people who underestimate you may never, in this lifetime, know who they were actually speaking to. And still, you did not become him. You did not trade your depth for a moment of dominance. You held a complete understanding of another human being in your hands, and you chose not to use it as a weapon. That is not nothing. That is quietly one of the rarest things a person can do. Your silence in that room was not empty. It was full. A perception of restraint, of a kind of dignity that does not need an audience. If this found you tonight, you are not alone in that room. You never were. This is INFJ Inward, a quiet place for deep minds.